Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, depending on what time of the day it is for you. Now, this week happens to be Saturday still of last week. Thank you for the likes and shares that you've done on the, well, thanks for the likes anyway, on the other video that got quite a lot of likes actually in the first 20 of you. At least 8 clicked the like button, so thank you for that. I appreciate it because it helps make the channel go and all that rubbish. Anyway, if you ain't subscribed yet, why not? Anyway, tub time, and I'm going to be absolutely frank with you. I don't think I can salvage this. I honest to God think it is just too far gone. I mean, if the rot was contained, say, like on the floor and the bottom panel's there, then but it isn't. It's everywhere. It's even on the inside edge of that. It's just flipping horrendous. See, look, rust there. I took the arches off. I'll be honest, I don't think I can save it anyway. But we'll have a go. We'll have a go. It's going. I'm losing count of how many I've cut though. I'm gonna have to de-seam that. I reckon, I'm not saying for definite, but I reckon I'm gonna have to put a plasma cut right down the damn middle and peel it back both sides and pull it out, and then it's gone. It's gone. And then it's a question, oh, will you be quiet, Diesel? Then it's a question of wire brushing all this little lot back and hoping we don't go through. If we do go through, then they're going to have to come off as well. I'll undo some of the spot welds. I'll probably take it to about there only and cut all the way down and leave that last ridge where it is. Many drill bits later, it's out. And what a nightmare that was. I believe the metal is actually Galvy, but it isn't very good quality Galvy, obviously. If you look closely in certain areas, like there, I do believe that's what it is. However, I'm thinking to myself, as you do, maybe I should remove this, cut it across to there, drop that off, see if I can't somehow remove all of that junk, get these off as well, and then I can pull that panel out and replace that with a piece of checker. I mean, we don't have to get rid of it completely. We can cut down that line there, get rid of these screws and bolts, and then rivet over the top. I do have a tool as well that can put I think it's a flange over the side of that, so well, there you go, it's all gone. Both corners, the middle section, the bottom one has now got to be welded back in once I've cleaned the rust up. That one fell out. I honestly was hoping it would be attached, but it isn't, so I've now got to put that back in, but I have no idea where it come from in relation to how it lines up, because I've got 2 hole points at the back, one there and one there, and obviously that one, ouch, lines up on the back piece, but the one next to it, I'm a little confused. Actually, it's this one, isn't it? So it may not make a lot of difference then that one has fell. No, it is that one. Look, the holes are there. So that has got to go back, but I think that one is going to go back when I've lowered it on the back before I put the checker on. So the next thing to do to this now, apart from clean up all the dirt, is to reline that back up and spot weld that back on. Probably a good idea to square it off and put those on wherever they were, and pretty much go from there, really. There you go, there's the paint. That's about as best as it's going to get for the moment. The whole tin, 20 quid's worth went on that. The only reason for it is I don't know if I'll be getting to it again. few areas missed, so I will have to touch them in, but for now that will do. So tomorrow I'm going to attempt a long walk with knackered knees to pick up some paint and hopefully wheel hubs, but we'll see what I'll ring up first. And then when I get back, I will weld that plate onto that bulkhead. There you go, it's all welded up now. Spot welds everywhere. Feeling quite happy about that. So I've ground back all the rust and painted over the top. Was stabilised it. I was going to do the 3-inch tubes, but I think I'm going to wait on that one. I want to get that out of the way because there's other things I want to move on to after, and there's still a little bit more work to do on this. I've got to make my mind up what we're doing about these sides, because at the moment I just don't know. Okay, buddy boy, it's all off. The tank is out, and there is the hole. Look at that. Not good. But there, where that hole is, there, it's quite thick there. Then you get to that thin bit, and then you get further down. So, right, we ain't done much this week. It's Friday today. I'm just trying to get this last plate sorted out. Originally, I was going to cut out 2 Mastergrate 6mm and I'm going to run them in on the inside of that chassis. Normally I would, but then I thought about it after. I'm not planning on selling this. I'm keeping it, and I don't want to have to be pulling it all apart again at a later date, because water's got between the 2 layers of metal and rotted it out. No, I've come up with a way better idea on how I'm going to strengthen this chassis up, and this is something I think everyone should adopt. However, it may not be possible for them because they haven't jacked the body up like I have. Speaking of jacking up the body and making alterations, I had this chap walk past this morning. I know him quite well, but I don't know him as well as I know his stepson, and his stepson's a great guy. But he comes past here this morning and he's looking at me with a cheesy grin on his face. He says to me, "You don't get anything finished, do you?" What? I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, that is such a harsh thing to say. He says to me, "You don't get nothing finished." I said, "I do." He said, "No, you don't. You like playing around with stuff, but you don't get it fit." Wow. I can't believe he came out with that. I thought, that's harsh. That was really harsh. I said, "The only thing I ain't got finished just yet was the lorry, because I scrapped it. Because the engine packed up and I couldn't afford to finish it. That was the only thing that never got finished. And the stress levels on that thing were humongous. It was cheaper and easier on my mind just to get rid of it. Out of sight, out of mind, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, that put me in a foul mood for the rest of the days. He is one for speaking his mind. I give him credit for that. He definitely spoke it then. Anyway, I've carved the hole out. There it is. That's the best I can come up with, so now I'm going to hit that with a grinder, clean up all the steel. That's as far as I'm planning on going with that. Strengthening up the chassis. I'm going to do something a little bit different because the chassis is a bit thin. If you look at the Land Rover, the way a Land Rover is designed at that point of turning, I think if my memory serves, it's a lot more metal. So I'm going to try and cut a triangle, 2 pieces of 6mm from that side, 6mm, from that point down there to this point up here, and I'm going to have them so they triangulate over the top of the chassis, and then I can seal them off, and I shall fill it with grease before I weld the last piece up. Hopefully that will be enough to put a bit of strength into that, and I should do that on both sides instead of putting plates on the side of the chassis to strengthen it up, because my fear on that is putting the plates on the side, moisture gets between the metal and eventually it will expand and rot out again, and it's just, for me, it seems like a waste of time, because once it starts to rot and it gets past the welding area, then it just collapses anyway. So it's just a damn waste of flipping time. Well, I don't like doing over patches, and that's what that is a little bit. It's a bit of an over patch, the best I can get it. I had to come way further back than I originally planned. Originally I'd cut the line down to there, but when I was welding I cut the welds and it went straight through. So in the end, where that line there is, I've welded it up against that. How well it'll hold I don't know, because I never planned for that, so it never got ground back properly. So for all I know, that weld could be sitting on the surface. I just don't know. But the rest of it is strong. But as you know, that's no good having all the other strong if one part of it is weak. I guess we'll find out, won't we? It don't look as great as it could. I think there's going to be an issue with that, but we'll see. At worst, we can always put a cut line in there with the grinder and just go over it one more time, and that should bring it. But we've got that hole to deal with now. I've just cut that one out. It's okay. I've hoovered out. No loose crap in there now. We've just got to oil it all up when I've welded that one up. It's fairly thick there. But one thing I have noticed about this truck, which is very neat. Oh, yeah. That fell off. One thing I did notice about this truck, which was a bit worrying, and I might have got it just in time, I hope I have. Let me just put that back on there. If you look in here, you probably can't see it, but it's rippled. It's rippled like the metal was starting to fatigue and bend. So when I put that back on, if I find that there's a gap bigger than the other, then we know that we're very close to losing this battle. Extremely close. So we are going to put some reinforcements in. Oh, that's nice. We are going to put some reinforcements in, but we're not going to put them on the inside and hide up metal. We're going to put them on top of the chassis here. And they're going to be 6mm, and I'm just going to do it because I want to strengthen that area up. We've got a 3-inch lift on this anyway, so I think we'll be fine with it, and we'll do it in a triangular shape using some of that. So yeah, I'm ahead of it. I know where I'm going with it. It's annoying because I just found online a whole half chassis that you can purchase that goes right down to that line down there. The whole thing, all of this goes to that line. I could have bought that as £1,000, and I could have replaced it with a whole brand new section and welded it in. Well, there's another hole that bites the dust. I'm telling you now, there'll be more. There you go. That one is literally an overplate. I'm getting a little bit peed off with it all. Not surprising, really. Anyway, I know there's going to be more, and I suspect it's going to be in the actual body itself, not in the chassis. I don't think I'll be finding any more in the chassis, but I do know that it's a little bit weak under there where the mount is, and I'm now concerned about that. If I have to weld those, I honestly reckon it would be body off. Roll the chassis out, put the body down, stick a mattress on the floor, roll the damn thing over on its side, and then start unplucking everything. That is what is coming. And we'll be here another 4 or 5 more weeks. Or the alternative is to find one of these in a scrapyard and buy the body if it's in better condition. That would be the better way around it. Well guys, we're finished. The chassis is now fixed. I can't say anything about the body at the moment because I haven't de-rusted everything. Got a few cheats up my sleeve though if I do find some holes in the bodywork, but the chassis is solid. I've added a couple of strengtheners which has technically modified the chassis if you want to look at it like that. I don't know if it was a waste of time doing it. It might be, it might not be, I don't know. What I didn't want to do was to put some massive overplates on the chassis because I was concerned that once water starts getting in there, it will cause the chassis to flare out, bulge through rust, more scaling building up between the two layers, and then eventually you're going to have to cut it all out and start all over again, and I didn't want to do that. Yeah, so this is what I got. So I've put a piece of box steel on top, which I've welded in. Not great welding, but it's strong enough. I've left the ends open so I can get a power washer to blow out all the dirt. There is paint underneath some of that already anyway. I've also sprayed, and you can see that here, WD-40 has gone in there, and then I've added some, I'll tell you what I found is to be good for chassis, inside chassis, is flipping heck, cutting compound oil, which comes in a spray can. A friend of mine gave me a load of it, and I've been spraying that inside, and it's flipping brilliant because it froths and it soaks into the rust brilliantly, makes that rust a bit more on the waterproof side. So Monday, because we can't do anything until the black paint turns up for the bed liner, because I went and bought tintable bed liner by mistake, I will get out here with my descaler next, and that'll be Monday onwards, and we'll start descaling as much of this as we possibly can, including the axles, and I'll do it until I'm fed up of it. It's going to make an awful amount of noise, but it's just what it is. I have spoken to some of the residents around here about that, so they are aware of it. There's just one chap with a Jag just down here who does night shifts on some occasions, so I need to make sure he's not on nights, and we're good to go. Look, I know, you know, I'm being considerate for once. That's my words are all messed up. Anyway, so that's it really. I'm reinforced, I'm waiting for me black paint. We'll get the rest of the bed liner on. So what am I going to do? Well, Monday, as I said, we're going to descale as much as possible. Then we'll spray on some rust eater that I've purchased, got a couple of bottles of the stuff, which I'm looking forward to putting on, and then we'll spray it all up. In the meanwhile, over the weekend, because I want to continue, wheel spacers, I'm going to put those on the lathe and machine those so my new wheels will fit on them a little bit more comfortably. And I'm also going to tackle these hubs, because I've had an idea now how I can get them over the wheels, so I'm going to put them in the lathe as well, and this time I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on how I do this next job. It's very feasible what I'm going to do, so it should work. I've got resin, I've got loads of resin, so sometime during next week, once I've got all the bed liner done, I'm going to start tackling the sides, making up 2 new moulds of those, and I'm going to make 2 new wings, get some sealant, and this will probably be done after the MOT, to be honest, so this may go down the MOT with those on once I put the new floor in, but it would be nice to knock these out and get those done, and because they're fiberglass, I can play around with them a little bit better, you know, in like reshaping, because the wheels come out, actually stick out 5 inches almost. When I laid them wheels on the other day, the new ones came out to about there. They were wide. Talk about eating bearings. So this is going to give me an opportunity, if I do it this way, to move those wings out if I want to, or I can modify the eyebrows that are on there and bring them further out. One idea I've got is to make up some strips of fiberglass to screw in underneath here, so they come out to there. Do another strip that I can screw in here all the way around, put some polystyrene in there with some foil tape over it, and then foil tape over the whole thing, and then glass up very carefully and make up the skin, and then just peel it off, re-glass back over it again a couple of times, get it nice and thick, sand it, fill it, and then bed line it, because I would like that bed lined. I want that matte black under here, because I've got a Navara sticker I want to put in, and then on the back of here, if I do some brows as well, then they're going to get bed lined. But the fiberglass sides I'm planning to do are going to be fully bed lined anyway. The whole back end will be bed lined, because when I put my camper on, if we ever get that far with it, I want it all to blend in so it looks like it was all purposely made, you know, for the job. I'm never buying another Japanese vehicle ever again. Ever. If I can help it, that is. I have never found so much rust on a vehicle in all my life. My stepfather used to buy and sell cars, and all the Japanese Datsuns that he bought over in the 70s, every single one of them he bought was really rotten. Don't get me wrong, the British stuff wasn't that great either. I remember the days of Maxis and stuff like that, and Ford Anglias, they weren't that great either. But the Datsuns were the worst. They were rotten. Nothing has changed by the looks of things. I know we have an excessive amount of road salt thrown out during the winter, which is a good thing in the sense of it keeps the roads safe, but it's a terrible thing for cars because it just kills the hell out of them. Thanks for your likes and shares. I know people like the first video on the bull bar, but a lot of you didn't like the second part, which is painting it all up. I don't know what I've done wrong on that, but alright, whatever. Thanks for your likes and shares for those that did do all the likes and sharing and the commenting, and yeah, I'll do my best to keep up what I'm doing. See you later.